Hi, everybody. I'm Ryan,
Ament.
and today we will be talking about the Mel Gibson directed movie Hacksaw Ridge, based on a true story. So let's get into it. So, uh, pretty much it's set in the 1940s. It is based on a true story about Desmond Doss is his name, and he wanted to become a medic to go into the war. He saw all of his friends going off to the war and just wanted to kind of go there to try and help out after what happened with Pearl Harbor, I believe. No, was it Pearl Harbor?
Okinawa.
Okinawa. Oh, yeah. So he's obviously gone over to the war. It's set in three arcs. First is a bit of a love story between him and his wife. Then it's the training montage, and then it gets into the battle scenes. We actually both agreed on this one. So let's go into the first two arcs. What was your thoughts?
The first two, the love
Yep,
story and the, let's say, the training
yep,
slash court martial.
yep.
All right, a lot to unpack, I think. So, first one, the love story. Look, it's very hard. I'm just gonna do a bit of like a disclaimer.
Yep.
I know this is based on true story, and even though I am not a huge fan of the movie, especially the first two parts of it, it's not like taking away anything that actually happened in reality and all the good consequences that was in the war. Let's put that aside and just
Yep.
talk about the movie itself. So the love story, I don't buy it. It's I know it was another time, maybe, but there is no chemistry between the two of them, and just the way that the love story unpacks. So he comes to get his blood drawn, and then he comes back and he takes her to the movies and he looks at her weird and then kisses her, and sort of they fall in love and
Yeah,
they get married. I just like that. That's it.
yeah,
Nothing. And he's behaving like a bit of a mind child as well. Like he takes her to the wood, wants her to climb on the big rock, doesn't help her. Is like, why? Why is she
yeah,
falling for him? I
yeah.
just
It was done so and anti. It was just done poorly. So it was always anticlimactic that she was just very kind of almost, oh, what is this? And then all of a sudden they're married, and then she's very un just so in love with him that she doesn't want him to go to war. It was almost a 180 of her feelings for him. And I didn't particularly think that Teresa Palmer was a strong person to play the character either. I didn't feel anything for her. She just didn't do it for me at all.
yeah, I'm sort of okay with her. No, with her as an actress and what she did, to be honest, I wonder if it's like whatever is falling on her skills and whatever is actually that she was giving a bad script and not much to actually play with. She sort of saved it a little bit in the second act for me when she comes and she tells him, just do the training and then you get to be a medic because yes, this is the right response that it feels. And that's my thing with the second part. This entire doesn't want to touch a weapon. It doesn't feel right because the way that they wrote the character of Das, and I don't think that this is right and really true to the reality because you have a clip like an interview at the end of him and it sounds like a very articulate person.
Yeah, I saw that, and but the way they portrayed him, he's almost. I thought, oh, is this just guy slow? Is he
Yeah.
special needs? But then he's not. Then that the clip at the end, aside from that maybe that slight speech, whether that came on later in life or that's how he spoke when he was younger. But yeah, it was almost this isn't the character who we just
it,
spent the last
it
two
was
and two
not
hours.
exactly. It's like you feel that okay, maybe it is someone who doesn't want to touch a weapon. He wants to go to the war, but he wants to be a medic. But to be these conscientious objectors, and then when people are telling me you're going to be dropped out, or we're going to do everything to make you quit, or we're just going to like push you out because you don't want to do the training, to make a statement or just to be that stubborn just doesn't gel with the character. You feel that, okay, either he's a very smart guy and he's got a very strong opinion about weapon and about the war, and he wants to make a statement, and that's why he's not backing down. But he's not written this way, and he doesn't come across this way. He is this simple guy that just wants to be a medic,
Yep.
and you feel that the right response is, okay, I'm going to do the training, and then I can just be a medic and I won't use my weapon in the field. And even when they show the backstory with his father that he almost shot him, I don't buy it. It's not strong enough of a background.
Yeah, it was a bit rushed, if anything. It's like he wants to be a medic, but he's got no medical knowledge. He's only just met this nurse, and she's given him a book about uh the anatomy.
I know
So
everything he knows
that's
about medicine is from a book.
yeah,
It's
so
just like, okay.
it's obviously the real I didn't read enough about the real guy to how he got that training, but it felt very rushed and poorly written. Possibly there was just poor directorial notes from Gibson. He didn't really does good movies as well. So it was a very I found that first part very disappointing. And then the courtroom scene, it was he's going to get dropped out, and then all of a sudden, Dad comes in with the note, and it's over. You're fine. You can go to war. It was just done. That's it. It's over.
Yeah, very poor resolution.
Yeah. Okay. So and then we get to the battle scene, which I I think was just done really well. I don't have many faults of it. Um, Maybe just some slight little like the too much use of some squibs. But there was some really, really two memorable scenes for me were the hold your breath scene where Desmond's kind of burying his mate because the Japanese soldiers are coming by and they're walking over him. And obviously when they're down in the tunnel and he finds a Japanese soldier and he patches him up and he lets him go. Those were two pretty good, powerful scenes. So I think the second part of the movie really
It
saved.
Yeah, it really saved it for me too. I really liked how like visceral it was. You're walking through the battlefield, somebody's getting a bullet to the head, and then the head just explodes. Or
Yeah,
you're walking across, they have their legs that are completely, like torn apart.
yeah,
And you see that as this is part of the scenery.
yeah,
I mean, Dust is really flying through bullets as well. That was a
yeah,
little distracting. That is almost always standing up and moving around, getting to the people. So incredibly lucky, not to get hit by a bomb or getting shot or anything like that. But the rest was immersive and really saved the two first act that I thought were very poor.
In terms of performances, I think Garfield just nailed it. I don't really have a I think he did a really good job. I didn't really have anything bad to say about him. I've already spoken on Teresa Palmer.
Yeah.
Some of the, and obviously it was a very strong Australian cast. It was mostly Australian actors, obviously to keep the costs down in the end result. But you could very much tell that they were Australian. There was a couple of performances where Sam Worthington, as good of an actor he is, he just can't do an American accent. He really struggled with that American accent.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a shame. Um, yeah, I was very surprised that there was so many Australian actors that were just putting an American accent. It was a bit disappointing, and it's too bad because those are actors that I actually really like. Some of them pulled it off like better than others, but Sam Worthington was just worse.
Yeah. One thing I got noticed and kind of annoyed me as well was the setting. Obviously, it's set in 1940s Japan, but there's when they go to the bottom of Hacksaw Ridge, there's some very noticeable Australian buildings. Like just the architecture is very noticeably Australian. It's just like when you're trying to make such a if on a such a time and place. How can you let that slip up? That's a bit of a
Well, I think there is a bit of like, a theme around that, and we haven't talked about the music as well. Maybe it's a good segue
yep,
towards it and how
definitely.
it can wrap it up together. So the music is very heavy-handed in it wants you to feel something rather than letting the story and the characters speak and do that for you and trigger an emotional response. And that's very American in not the good way of the term of being very heavy handed, being very heavy on the drama. And I think this is also maybe why that doesn't look Japanese, that looks Australian, maybe that can fool Americans because it feels that maybe it's a movie that's been designed for American audiences specifically, but seeing it as Australians, it just doesn't really work for us.
Yeah, it was almost, especially during the love story, it was almost manipulative, is a word that you
It,
use.
yeah,
Uh, uh, it just, oh, this is a, they're the lovebirds, and here's some heavy music over it, and we're going to try and forced emotion. I like to use this a term, and
yeah,
I really felt it was forced emotion this time.
it is. Anything else to add, or should we just go to school?
I think I've kind of covered everything I want to score. Yeah, I've covered it all. Let's go to our scores. You first.
I gave it 2.5 out of 5.
Yep.
It The last part saved two poor parts beforehand.
Yeah, yeah, you know what? I'm going to go 2.5 as well. I thought it was going to be a 3, but no, it's a 2.5 for me as well, which is surprising because all the people who I've spoken to who said I'm doing Hacksaw Ridge and they've gone, oh, what a great movie. And then I watched it and went, oh,
It has a very high score on
yeah,
Rotten Tomatoes. If
yep.
anything, I don't know if it's like distorted because of the audiences that have seen it, or
And
I don't know,
as you just mentioned, it was made by an American for Americans,
for
possibly.
Americans. Which is a shame because Mel Gibson grew up in Australia.
I
He should
know
know better.
he should. He did one of the best war movies of all time, Gallipoli. Come on.
Exactly, he should, but there's a lot of things that maybe he should know better. So
Yeah.
let's not be surprised.
Oh, well, thank you all for watching today. Give us a like and give us a subscribe. And until next time, we
Next
uh,
time,
have a good one, everybody. Bye.
bye.